I'm going to show you a cute idea I saw online for Easter or spring nails. What you'll need, first thing you'll need is a base coat, and I'm using Sally Hansen Hard as Nails. You'll need blue of some kind. I prefer a light blue. I think the grass shows up better on if you use a light blue. For the blades of grass, you'll need two different colors of green. One a little darker than the other. If you only have one green, if you add a little drop of black to it, it'll darken it enough to create a contrast. It gives it a more 3D effect. But these are the two colors that I'm going to use. For the flowers, you can use any color you want. I think white shows up best, so I'm going to use white. And in the middle of the flower, I guess they're daisies, there's a little yellow dot. I have a light yellow and a darker goldish yellow. I used the lighter yellow for my little baby chick. I decided to use the darker goldish yellow for the flower. So that's what I'm going to use for my flower. And then you'll need your top coat. And I'm using, again, Sally Hansen, this no chip for my top coat. You'll also need a toothpick or anything that you can, that will draw thin lines. You could use a needle, I guess. And you'll need a bobby pin with the little rubber round tips. I have some bobby pins that don't have those. These make really good dots for the petals. You might also want a card or a piece of paper or a plastic to put your nail polishes on, so you can dip your toothpick or your bobby pin in to them. So let's start. First thing you want to do, of course, is put on your base coat. Now you want to let that dry. I'm going to put 2 coats, but you want to let it dry completely. And when it's dry, I'll be back. And now I've got my 2 coats of my base coat. Now I'm going to put a couple of coats of my light blue. Now, as you can see, my blue is pretty opaque, so I'm going to need at least 2, possibly 3 coats. So when I'm done with that, I'll be back. Okay, the blue is dry. So now I'm going to take I'm going to put the darker green first. So you take and you put some, dab it a little bit on the paper there. You take your toothpick and just drag it upward. Doesn't have to be perfect. And it's so you want it to go different ways because grass doesn't really grow the same way. Okay, and then that's the first layer. Now you want to let that dry before you try to put another layer. The next layer will be the lighter green. So when that's dry, I'll be back. Now we're going to go for the lighter green. Just gives it a more of a 3D effect. And then you just do it until you like the results. Don't think too much about it, because then it becomes difficult. And let's see, I kind of like that. I'm going to stay with that. And then you want to let that dry. Once that's dry, then we'll start doing the daisy. Once that is dry, I will be back. Now we're going to work on the petals of the daisy. Get your white. Take one of the ends of your bobby pin. Dip it. Now you're going to make 5 dots. 2, 3, 4, 5. You want to let it dry for a second or two. You don't want it completely dry, but you don't want to do this when it's freshly wet either. So I'm going to blow on it for a few seconds. You can have your daisy anywhere you want it. You can have it up higher, lower, it doesn't matter. But now what you want to do is you want to take and drag each dot into the center. And as long as your toothpick is dry, it doesn't matter if you have a fresh toothpick or not. It gives some texture to the daisy. Now, daisies usually have a yellow center, so I'm going to use a golden yellow. It's a little darker than regular yellow. Either looks good though. I'm just choosing to use this one. And you use the clean end of the bobby pin. Dip it in and put a dot right in the center of your daisy. And that's what it looks like. Now I'm probably going to let this dry for a second or two. I'm going to probably do it again, just because it's a little glittery and opulous and opaque. So I'm probably going to do it another one on top of it in a second here. Let it dry off and put your top coat. And now it's done.